So this project was kind of like the coming together of a lot of different things in the most serendipitous of ways. And it just so happened that MoFo decided to move to Launceston.
We wanted to work with the architecture school in creating some sort of infrastructure which could continue throughout the year. You know, we want to debut it in Monofoma, the festival, but we're interested in having a year-round presence. We thought, well, maybe some sort of performance space / recording studio.
So we worked it down to this idea of a booth, this kind of provocation of a booth in the city, and how that performance and recording could operate in public.
So we're designing a booth.
Excellent.
Yeah, well, so pretty much we went to the sites yesterday and then did our analysis.
Yeah, we looked at all the different sites to try and generate an idea of a booth that could go anywhere.
Coming from, I think, an initial project, which is, you know, how could the University of Tasmania potentially work with Monofoma to this situation where we've got Monash University, we've got UTAS, we've got Monofoma, we've got Toby Gifford, we've got sound specialists and architectural specialists. You know, it's a rare opportunity.
Working in a group, usually within just UTAS, we find ourselves assuming like common knowledge, but now we're like really saying everything that comes to mind, and I think good things are coming from that.
Wanting to work in collaboration with UTAS on a project like this allowed us to engage locally, which is really important to us, but also to start to solve some of our other questions, which is where are the performances going to take place. Yesterday we tested a lot of different performances by our MoFo artists here in Launceston that we've worked with before, and the students were able to witness what these performances and the sounds were like in different urban environments, and I think that's inspired them to really consider the spaces and the site-specific nature of what this project might look like in its final form.
It was great watching the reactions of the MoFo producers. They'd come in with this concept which had been kind of deconstructed and spat back at them in ways that were not at all what they had been thinking. But as they said, you know, what this festival is about unexpected experiences, and it's hard to think of unexpected things yourself all the time.
What they've done is they've created a lot of different alternative, and in some cases radically alternative performing modes, which actually would force the performers to grapple with their interventions and would inevitably be reflected in the kind of music that would be created.
We look at human interaction in a way that we hadn't before. Like we'll be walking, we're like, oh, look at that, like that person just stepped out, out of the side, and we look at spaces now, whether they're compressed or expanded.
Seeing Lonnie in a new light, like somewhere that actually has potential to do something really cool and fun.
Monofoma Soma is a collaboration between the University of Tasmania Architecture and Design and Mona, and the idea was to create a mobile performance stage and recording booth that could be used for the festival and in future events.
So the project began with the students designing and working at a 1:10 scale model. So right from the get-go, it wasn't about necessarily producing drawings, it was more about working in the workshop and physically fabricating what the design proposition might be.
The Monofoma directors team was really fantastic to work with from a construction point of view. It was quite challenging because they had quite a loose set of requirements for what the project would entail, but had a relatively clear set of requirements from a technical point of view. You know, we had a range of materials already here. They were all produced at scale.
The material palette was really interesting in that we had a timber miller generously essentially donate a large amount of Tasmanian oak timber.
But also take a natural Tasmanian tint product and put it into a context where it's not normally seen. The students were broken up into teams to work on an elemental based project, and then as we progressed through the first week, those teams came together to make sure that the roof components would fit with the wall components and so forth. And then the second week was really about making it, so the same teams followed through into the construction of their elements.
So the last few days of the project were really intense. We really had to push to get it done for the deadline. But I think when we got to watch Brian Ritchie perform in the booth in the workshop, it was a moment of kind of gratitude and pride in what we'd achieved in such a short period of time.
The interesting thing about the Learning by Making program here at the University of Tasmania is that in a lot of ways the architecture school is built around the workshop and getting students in there as much as possible.
The Monofoma Soma recording booth will go out for the Monofoma Festival, and the intention is for the MoFo production team to continue using it in subsequent years while Mona remains in Launceston, in the north of the state, and hopefully that fosters an ongoing relationship with the University of Tasmania.
I feel that I learnt more out of the 2 weeks, from the design to the building, than I probably could in a whole semester's work. It was a fantastic experience that I highly recommend that everyone should get involved in.
Musicians love it. The public, their imaginations are captivated by it. It was a perfectly successful collaboration. Couldn't be happier. We're going to use it a lot more for Monofoma, and we're going to let other people use it during the year because we believe in this project so much. We want it to get used as often as possible.